This was how incense was offered at the Shaolin temple. One had to open a heavy iron gate using only their fingers to complete the ritual. The new arrival thought it looked easy, so he stepped forward and gave it a try. But something was wrong. No matter how hard he pushed, the gate wouldn't budge. The high monk saw this and pushed the gate open with ease. The young man burned his hand on the incense burner, even getting his fingers stuck inside. But the monk saw something deeper. He sensed that this man had a connection with Buddha. Instead of blaming him, he gave him a chance. If the man could walk across the sand pit, he would be accepted as a disciple. The man thanked the monk, but walking on the sand wasn't so simple. If he took even one wrong step, traps would catch him by the ankles. Seeing how dangerous it was, he turned to run. But then he spotted footprints on the ground. That gave him an idea. However, the monk had already seen through him and ordered the guards to wipe away all the prints. It seemed the man had no way forward, but he came up with a new excuse. He claimed he was just here to observe, and said his learning method was different. He stuck closely behind a monk, stepping exactly where he stepped. Incredibly, he made it through the sand. Now inside the temple, he was stunned by what he saw. Some monks were practicing on wooden poles, others were perfecting stances, and some were training iron head techniques. Just watching gave him a headache. Then he noticed someone stepping on ceramic tiles. It looked easy, so out of curiosity, he gave it a try. But he didn't know the floor had been coated in oil. He slipped and learned a painful lesson. That was when the head abbot finally appeared. Once the man heard the abbot's name, he immediately begged to become his student. The abbot knew he lacked skill, but he didn't drive him away. Instead, he gave him one condition. If he washed his head clean, he could become a Shaolin disciple. The man agreed instantly, thinking it was a simple task. But he wasn't allowed to wash in the pond. Instead, he had to toss stones into a deep well and wash using the splash from the water. He picked up a 600-pound stone and dropped it into the well. But the splash was tiny, so he lifted the stone again and slammed it down harder. This time, the water reached his head. Barely enough, he began to adjust his technique, learning to control the angle. He even learned how to do a handstand while washing his head. Day after day, he practiced with dedication. Eventually, he could bathe and wash his hair in midair. Not only did he clean his hair, but it also changed color. To join the Shaolin temple, he gave it everything he had. The abbot said nothing. He simply attacked. But the man dodged every strike with agile movements. No one expected that 3 years of washing his head had actually turned into real martial training. The man himself had no idea how far he had come.